the tubes. Now let's get set up with Facebook and get set up with Instagram. Then wait, this shit should go up. Oh no, what happened? Shit, just messed something up. But hold on, this should be working here any second. Go live. All right, go live. Why did this happen? Okay, no, we're good. Wait, we're good everywhere but here. Shit. All right, zoom. Then take the zoom off. 1 second, just let me fix this. But we are live everywhere. So we're here with Brock, with Cardinal Insurance Partners. We're going to be talking about trucking insurance today. So I don't know how many people are going to be excited about this, but since we are in trucking, it's probably a good idea we discuss trucking insurance. There's going to be a lot of questions. Since I met Brock, I started talking to him about the insurance, and he kind of changed my mind about how insurance operates, because I always was like, let's get the cheapest insurance, you know what I mean, to save money and, just spend the least amount of money because, trucking operations are already tough as it is. So I always wanted to be cheap, but then he started telling me about, all the coverages. If something happens, it's not going to get covered. So this is definitely something we're going to be discussing today. So Brock, if you want to introduce yourself, let people know exactly what you do, and let's go from there.
Yeah, Brock McKinnon. I'm the principal and owner of Cardinal Insurance Partners. We've got agents all across the nation, locations here in Chicagoland. We got an Arizona location, Pennsylvania location. I've been doing this for 20 years. You can see some of the gray coming through. This is definitely it's been a long time coming in this business. But Bobby, one of the things you said is you want to concentrate on how much it costs. We worry about that a lot, but when you do this stuff right, that's how you actually get cheap insurance, right? I don't have clients because they pay more, right? My base client book isn't, hey, we're going to pay 30% more because Brock's awesome. No, we set people up to make sure that we're doing programs right and finding ways to, internally lower insurance costs, with good markets, with good service, and making sure your coverages are right at a good price, right? So, that's really what we focus on. We do focus on coverage first, but when you do that and you set up your policies right, most of my people pay well below market average, for what they're buying.
No, I already got a question. We talked about this today, right? About the flatbeds. I already got a question on Instagram. So, having problems with Progressive Insurance with tarp loads since supposedly they don't cover it. And literally, you just told me about this today, right?
Yep. Without getting too insurance dorky, your basic ISO cargo program is going to say you have to have a waterproof tarpaulin. Well, Bobby, what happens if that load gets wet?
They don't cover it.
It's not a waterproof tarpaulin anymore, right? So there's language in those policies that get out of certain claims. So there are some companies we represent, mainly Great West, that does not have a tarping endorsement. So that means even if you don't tarp a load that on your bill of lading says needs to be tarp, you still have cargo coverage. That's why nobody declines their loads nationwide.
And this is why, when I started talking to you, this is why it's kind of important too, right? Because like I said, you get the cheap insurance, and then they're not going to cover, some of the shit. I told you a couple incidents we had, and it's stuff you don't look at. And most of the insurance agents, that's why, like I said, once I started talking to you, and you're just so anal about everything that I just feel comfortable that if people go to you, they are gonna get the best possible thing that's gonna cover their ass, because any little language, something's not covered. Like I told you about the container situation, the container wasn't covered. We didn't know that. Somebody flipped the container, and hey, we think everything's all good. Then they come out of left field and oh, sorry, we don't cover containers. You're stuck. You're gonna be responsible for this whole load, which is crazy.
Well, look, man, we want to get as many clients and good clients as we can, but my life has been blessed off the back of the trucking industry. Right. I'm sitting here in an office in a hoodie and a baseball hat selling insurance to truckers all over the country. And, my family is fed off of their backs. At the end of the day, we want to help as many people as we can in our office, in our agency, but we want to make sure that the general population is educated. I could give a shit if you buy it from me, as long as you do it right. That makes it better for everybody.
Yeah. All right.
But it's better for us if you get it through me.
Oh, here comes the negative comments. All insurance salesmen are liars and thieves. Dude, honestly, dude, we've dealt with some insurance companies, and I understand why people would feel that way. And first of all, I wouldn't, do a partnership with them if I thought something was fishy about it, because I got insurance shit all the time, and it just wasn't something that I wanted to do. You know what I mean? But I get where he's coming from, because we had some insurance broker, insurance agents that just ignore you. You know what I mean? Like, just you reach out to them,
Well,
get certificates or claims or anything. Like, you just give two shits. They don't even know what they're doing. You know?
well, look, here's a big thing that you can tell if someone cares about you or not. Okay. Policy fees. Okay. If you ever buy insurance from someone that tacks on a policy fee, what a policy fee is, it's just an insurance agency charging you to write your insurance. And a lot of them do that out there because they don't think you're going to be around for a while and they want to make a little bit of extra money. And I would agree with you. Those guys are liars and thieves. When people ask me who my biggest competition is, honestly, it's lying, cheating insurance agents. It makes us all look bad. And look, I'm an asshole. I'm a bastard, right? I mean that's what we do here. But I'm never going to say no to most insurance agents are liars and thieves.
Well, same thing with carriers and freight brokers. A lot of us
Yeah,
are scumbags
yeah,
and
it's-
fucking things. So, I mean, you got there's good people and good people. No matter what you're doing. What the fuck is? What do you? They're crying about flock cams. What the fuck are flock cams? It's the first time I'm hearing about this.
Is that the reverse camera?
I don't know. I'll just
Is that
look
the
it up.
driver facing camera?
Maybe the driver facing cameras. Yeah, they're saying
Yeah.
flock cam sucks. Bobby supports flock cams. What the fuck? Yeah, I support flock cams, bro. So when you're alone on your 34-hour reset, I really want to see you doing your business in there, bro. That's exactly.
So here's
what I want.
here's a funny thing about driver facing cameras in a claim scenario. They actually hurt your cause in a claim scenario more than help.
Because they use it against you,
Because-
I take it, right?
Well, if you go down and touch your radio, take a sip of coffee within 10 minutes of an accident, these plaintiffs' attorneys out there are grabbing that and saying, look, this driver is distracted, right? They shouldn't have gotten in this accident. They weren't looking at the road the last 10 minutes. They were distracted. So our insurance companies usually recommend forward facing if you can afford it, down the side. But I would say, for a pure risk standpoint, driver facing cameras are awful.
This guy's saying no, it's a surveillance spread. They're lying. They're laying out all. Oh, you're talking about. He's talking about that company that's doing those cameras all across. I know what you're talking about. Yeah, that's wild too, bro. We're talking about. This is some like some. I'm against that shit too, man. Invasion of privacy and all that kind of stuff. Let's get into some questions, dude. So, what do you think is the biggest mistake trucking companies make when they're trying to, get insurance and they're trying to save money instead of looking to get the best coverage?
So saving money is big. You want to make sure that you can make money. Okay. Just like the guy said, he's missing loads because the cargo coverage wasn't correct. You don't want to save 10% and then off of, trucking insurance. Like you don't want to buy something that's 15 grand instead of 20. You don't want to buy something that's 10 instead of 12. And then you're going to have a subset of brokers that you can't even haul for, especially if you're starting new. I mean, you need to get every load that you can and every good paying load that you can. So you need to make sure that the companies that you're getting insurance with will actually work with the brokers and the shippers that you're trying to haul for.
Yeah, because one guy's in the comment. I'm guessing he's a freight broker. He's like, that's our biggest problem. He's like, we're facing in the flatbed industry is progressive. We have to pass on them because of that clause. I feel it hurts the carriers and us due to that. And I agree with them, but then a lot of carriers are stuck. But actually, you brought up a thing today. You said Great West will cover, right, new entities or?
Yeah, new ventures. Great West will cover new ventures. We also work with Northland, who does not have a Tarpian endorsement. A lot of the other carriers will have that Tarpian endorsement. And I'm sorry for saying Tarpian endorsement. That sounds so freaking nerdy. But that's the verbiage in the policy package there. But for guys that are starting out new, and the biggest problem here, Bobby, is if you want to start out new and you want to have 2 or 3 trucks starting out, I mean, your options are limited, right? I mean, there's just not a whole lot of insurance companies that'll do it. And then guys are scratching around for risk retention groups. They're scratching around for monoline cargo. And then they get burned in the end because they can't even haul loads.
Yeah, that's the worst. Especially the odds are stacked against you when you're starting off as a new company, and then plus with the insurance, how high it is, and then your options. But it's absolutely crazy. So say if you're owner op, right, and you want to lower your insurance premiums without hurting coverages, is there any way of doing that or?
Yeah. One, go on one of those online credit apps and fix your credit. If you're an owner op, if you're a one-man trucker, dude, half your rate is based off your credit. Okay. So if you can do a couple things and just fix it just a little bit, we've seen 20 to 30% variances in premiums week over week based off of people that fix their credit. The other thing you can do that we do as a service in here is you need to make sure that you understand what's on your SMS scores and what's on your cab report. You need to make sure you have a company that can data queue any unfair inspections and non-preventable claims, because that's going to help you a ton on rate.
Yeah, and people need to save money, right? The more money you save, the higher chances you're going to be of being successful already in this hard-ass market, dude. Another guy says, for guys that are starting out, new insurance can be the best. Brokers can't be the best. No, brokers won't touch you. Yeah, I mean, brokers won't touch you if you're just starting off anyways for the first 3 to 6 months, you know, so on top of it having like shitty insurance,
Yeah.
Especially like you said, if a flatbed and like a lot of brokers are not using it, that's definitely going to hurt them. So, what are some things that people think is going to save them money, but in the long run with insurance is actually going to cost them money instead of saving it for them?
Changing companies every year, right? So if you jump around to insurance companies every year, a different one, you know, and I'll tell you guys, these guys are bastards. We can see who you're with, how long you've been with them. We can actually see who you're shopping with, right? So we go to an insurance underwriter on a new account. And, you know, let's say it's a guy with like 8 or 9 trucks. I'll call one of my underwriters from a really good company like Acuity, for say, and they'll tell me, hey, this guy's cab report has been run 60 times, which means 60 different insurance carriers or agencies are looking at their account. And then that makes the underwriter go, well, I don't want to compete, right? We don't want to go to a rock bottom price and compete against every other freaking insurance market out there. Now, healthy competition is good, right? So what you want to do is have someone and select your shopping and make sure that the good markets out there are covered. The best way that we beat people's insurance rates down is showing the incumbent carrier where the market is. So like, you know, this week I got a flatbed guy out of Indiana. His renewal was $150,000 with Gray West, right? I got him a bid from Berkeley Small for 120. Showed it to Great West. They're like, well, we like the account, we'll match it.
Oh,
right,
no shit.
guys?
That's the
Guys,
first time I've heard of that.
This shit is made up. Okay, it's a fugazi. It's a fugazi. There's some actuarial science to it. There's some underwriting that goes into it. But every company has some wiggle room. But we can't just call a company and say lower the rate, because then all the lying and cheating, and stealing and thieving insurance agents out there are just going to call and say lower the rate, lower the rate. Then the insurance companies go broke, which I'm sure you guys would love. I would love sometimes too. But we have to do our jobs and make sure that we have, you know, good competition to keep these insurance companies honest.
So safety scores, right? How big of a factor are safety scores on insurance policy premiums?
Huge. And honestly, the shitty thing about this market is the smaller you are, the more of a play they have. So like as a one unit owner operator, you have such a small window of error versus someone that pays, you know, $2 to $3 million in premium. You know, they have a little bit bigger window of error. I'll tell you, the 2 biggest things insurance companies don't want to see on your CSA scores are unsafe driving, okay, and they don't want to see any drug or alcohol violations. You know, as long as you keep unsafe driving and drug and alcohol down, or I mean, drug and alcohol 0, obviously, then we have a shot, right? But if you've got speeding in a truck, you know, if you've got following too close, that's the biggest one, then these guys aren't going to want to touch you, or they're not going to want to give preferred rates.
Now, you mentioned credit scores, right? Big part of lowering your rates and shit like that. Is there anything else that would help lower the rate besides just better credit, or is that, you know, basically
for a small guy? That's really it. And then where you located out of, like if you're really mobile, like if you're not married to an area, the area you operate out of is huge. You know, Bettendorf, Iowa has a different base rate than Chicago, Illinois.
So don't register your companies out of Bettendorf, Iowa, wink, wink.
I mean, you know, and then states are different. Like the state we work in that has the craziest high insurance rates is Texas. You know, Texas is you know, it's a Republican-led state, but the court system is blue. The court system is very liberal. And so when claims go to court in Texas, they tend to be 20 to 25% higher than even Illinois. So you see that reflected in you Texas guys. I mean, you guys pay out the ass. It's crazy.
Yeah, Texas, yeah, there are a bunch of different, California too, right? Florida.
Yeah. Well, California is an interesting market because the state insurance department has freezed any sort of rate increase, and insurance carriers pull out, which artificially increases the premium. So like we kind of steer clear of California just because you never know what the insurance department's going to do.
So like when you look at a damn certificate of insurance where somebody covers cargo, contingency, all these other fucking different things, which one's really the most important, dude?
Your cargo.
Cargo.
The cargo is the one thing that's going to make or break you. The cargo is the one thing that's going to let you get loads or not get loads. Now, if you have a liability company that's not admitted, like a risk retention group, that can cause you some problems. The fact of the matter is this is one of the only insurances that anyone ever buys. And, no one wants to use their insurance, but, in every trucking claim, no one wants it to pay. No one wants liability to pay, right? No one wants to have to use their insurance for FISDAM. But cargo is the thing that can make and break you, mainly because of shipper and broker relationships. Bobby, you're dispatching, you deal with brokers. If your top broker cuts you off because, one of your flatbed, I'll tell you a really cool coverage that we just came out with. If you're refrigerated flatbed, right, there's special coverage for refrigerated flatbed. If you don't have that on there, then those reefer flatbed guys, they'll cut you off.
Those are highest claimed ones, man. Those are hard to get covered, but I can't believe you could actually get it covered. So that's pretty good, man. So you guys hear that? For all you guys that are going to be buying these refrigerated flatbeds, you know who to go to get this insurance coverage. You know what I mean? There's Marcin finally jumps in. Jesus Christ, where were you, man? If you answer some of these, so the gentleman that says Cruzel, Kruzl, that is my godson. If there's any questions or any contact information you guys want, if he answers it, he's giving you the correct information. So he is not a spammer. That is my family member in the comments, because my godson works there too. That's actually how I met Brock. And that's how we actually ended up meeting. And like I said, man, like usually I was always like, man, get the cheap insurance, cut corners, do this, do that. Like nobody ever changed my mind about this shit for like 20 something years, man. And then I met you and I'm like, just a couple conversations with you. And I'm like, all right, maybe this is one of those things that you shouldn't be cutting corners on. And you should be definitely, making sure that your company, your assets, everything's protected, right? Just by.
Well, look, there's always a line, right? There's always a line that you can cross. And, we're not Boy Scouts, I live with my toes on the line, right? We never cross it, but we live with our toes on the line, and we're the type of agency that keeps people around for a long time, and that's our goal. We want to keep you in business. We want to help you grow. Some of my biggest accounts I wrote with 2 to 3 trucks that are up to, 50 to 100 trucks now.
That's the way to do it, man, to grow with them.
Because we stopped them from making mistakes that would have screwed their insurance business on the insurance side.
And I think the one guy's trying to get in. He's trying to ask a question, but he's like, "Are you taking questions?" Sure, but you gotta write one, right? So, like, what's one thing that a lot of people like don't even think about that they think they're covered for, and then when shit happens, they're like, "Oh fuck, we're not covered for this."
Oh, there's some fun ones out there. Marring is a big one. So if you unintentionally damage your freight, most cargo policies don't cover that. If the other one is reefer breakdown is the most misunderstood coverage out there. The actual cause of loss is temperature change, right? So that's the actual coverage you need. Otherwise, your reefer has to actually break down for coverage to come. For you fuel haulers out there, missed delivery is a big one. You grain haulers, most of your cargo policies don't cover contamination of grain, which, we keep talking about these coverages. The silly fact in the insurance market is the companies that offer these coverages are typically the best priced companies out there because they select their risk very well and they select their agency force very well. So we're out there on the front line making sure, Acuity and Great West, that they get guys that care. They get guys that, want to follow along. You mentioned Marcin, he's doing a great job. We've written some nice Acuity accounts. They give you a risk guy for free. Right? They'll come out there and look at your operation and help you with your driver files for free. Great West gives you a guy's cell phone number that comes and visits you 3 times a year and will run safety meetings for free, right? That's how we keep those rates down, is because we help people operate at best standards.
They're asking, what about errors and omissions insurance? I don't know if they're trolling me or what, or is that
no? E&O is a that can happen in more of the intermodal world. We see that a lot, especially if you're taking stuff from overseas. We can help with that. It's a little bit more complicated. If cargo is changing hands 2 to 3 times, E&O comes in. But we do that. But that's a select few that need that, and usually bigger fleets need that.
Please put up and let me know. Thank you. If there's a number to get a hold of him. Yeah, Trucker Bob 25 Marcin. I was going to say Kruzl. He'll give you guys all the contact information. He's in the chat right now. He'll definitely do that. So, say for example, you go like me a couple years back, right? I go with the cheapest fucking policy possible. What are some things that are going to pop up that are going to bite me in the ass for doing it?
Look, if shit doesn't happen, then the cheapest policy is the best policy.
Yeah, well,
You know what I
yeah,
mean?
well, shit
Yeah,
happens. Shit happens.
yeah, shit happens.
Yeah.
Just little things like name driver exclusions. Like if you get a physical damage only policy, they'll have a name driver exclusion which says we're only covering drivers that you have reported. Whereas we all know it's Saturday, you get a new driver, you put him in a truck, you do a road test, and then he gets in an accident on Monday and you didn't call the insurance company. Well, you got an $80,000 truck that's now your fucking problem, right? Things like that come up. Name driver exclusions on liability. I see online all the time where people get hit by other people's trucks and they call their insurance and they're like, oh, that guy wasn't a driver. Screw you. Those are things that come in that really make people mad. I mean, I still haven't met a trucker that, if they get in an accident, it's their fault. They want to take care of people. I mean, you guys are salt of the earth. Like, when you messed up. But guys, 50-60% of the claims out there are not your fault, and you're still paying, right? You're still paying for it because everybody wants to blame the truck. So, that's, when we look at that stuff, that's what we really see is there's some really ticky-tack stuff out there that may save you a few $100, but it'll ruin your year.
It looks like you're Roger approved because Roger got a new profile, I guess. And every time somebody hops on and we talk about some kind of industry, he always asks some kind of fucking question. He's going to try to trip these people up. And that was the errors and omission question. And he bingoed you, so it means you're Roger approved. That's good. He's always a heckler, dude. He's like, whenever he smells some bullshit somewhere, he's always calling people out. But that's a good thing, So, what's like the worst insurance situation you think that could happen to somebody? Like, if they don't have the correct coverage, what's the worst shit out there that really will fuck them?
Look, if you don't have if you don't have assets, like if you don't have money in the bank, that's what insurance is meant for. Okay. True insurance is meant to cover catastrophic loss. How many owner operators out there with one truck have $1 million in the bank at risk, right? This is the only insurance that covers more than people tend to be worth. Okay. Where guys can really get screwed is if they buy a program that doesn't fit with what they do and doesn't fit with their plan. And then they get midterm canceled. If any y'all ever out there have ever been midterm canceled, that's like sharks in the water or blood in the water to sharks, because then insurance companies can see that and they know they don't have to compete price wise for your business. They have to compete for just the acceptability. And then they can charge whatever they want. So I've seen
cut you off. Jesse, yeah, they have Great West, man. So if you want Guy Cruzel, Kruzl, he'll reply to you. Hit him up. He'll give you his info. They definitely have it, and these are we just partnered up, so we're gonna start a partnership starting next week. We're gonna start pushing some content out. But this guy is I'm not even bullshitting. Legit broker, insurance broker. They got all the good companies. He's not gonna skim on coverage. So if you want something like shady coverage, it's gonna get you by. This is not the place to go to. If you want to make sure you're protected, your ass is protected, you get the exact insurance you need. Like Axel just said, this one does he does a super ego 1 VIN 5 trucks? No, this is definitely not, dude. So I made sure if I'm gonna partner up with somebody, I want to make sure they're legit. These guys are 100% legit. They're going to help you out for sure, and they're going to make sure you're covered if anything happens. And then one more question, sorry, from Gregor. What insurance is needed for Hazmat?
So just base insurance, right? Depending on what you're hauling, you need $1 million filing. Okay. And then if you're hauling fuel, for instance, then you're going to need a $4 million excess on top of that. And most terminals require actually a $5 million excess past what the FMSCA requires. Actual insurance wise, it's more of an acceptability issue. A lot of the carriers you see out there won't do hazmat. Our top carrier, Great West, if you're hauling dry van and you call me and say, hey, I want to haul hazmat, guess what? You're already covered. You're good. Oh, wow. We'll pick up the risk on renewal. And the crazy thing out there, guys, the cheapest insurance policies out there are hazmat guys. It's crazy. It's you wouldn't think it, but when's the last time
today we're talking about that, yeah.
Yeah, when's the last time you saw a tanker blow up on the news? You know what I mean?
55, I've seen them tip over though, dude. But I don't know if it's, but probably hazmat. But yeah, it's not rare. It's mostly other trucks.
So hazmat isn't necessarily what covers you need. It's an acceptability feature on your insurance policy. Will they let you haul with a placard? That's what you need to worry about.
We got content creator coverage. Axel's asking.
No.
No, definitely
No.
not, dude. So like I know insurance coverages like only cover like say what if you got 100,000, 152, 250, whatever the fuck you got, right? But what's the biggest claim you've seen ever come through, like dollar amount?
Biggest claim, I think it was down in Texas. It was the $9 billion judgment.
Wait, sorry, before you answer that, because they're asking if he's with Great West. No, he's not directly with Great West. How do I answer that so I don't get you in trouble with the insurance
I'm a
companies?
Great West appointed agency.
There you go.
So you
No.
can't sell Great West unless you're an appointed agency. Everybody can't go to a wholesaler and get it. You can't go to a buddy and get it. You have to be vetted. There's typically 5 to 6 agencies per state that have it. We have it in every state except for California, Florida, New York, and Louisiana. And if you're mad that you can't get it there, talk to your state legislator and tell them to do tort reform.
No, the same person's asking, is it true that Great West does not want to insure carriers from Cook County? He said he's been told that a few times.
No.
So that probably means his agent doesn't really carry Great West and just blowing smoke up his ass to get him to a different insurance.
Yep. We actually see that a lot. And again, first comment on this thread was lying and cheating insurance agents, right? And Bobby, we talked about this before today. My biggest competition as an agent is not good insurance agencies. Like I know most of the good ones. We actually get along. Our biggest competition is lying and cheating insurance agencies. Like, people that will say, hey, we have Great West, but they declined you, or they won't do Cook County. No, most of like my biggest fleets are in Cook County with Great West. And actually, Cook County and Illinois have changed tort reform to the benefit of the trucker. Illinois used to be one of the worst states to get insurance in, and now it's kind of creeping up where your rates out of Illinois are more mirroring Indiana, Ohio, where before Illinois was crazy high.
Dude, there's so many fucking. I was not expecting this many fucking insurance questions, bro. Holy shit, dude. Dude, you get this is wild. Okay, so Wesco, what the fuck, Wesco? Why is Wesco not renewing or writing new policies?
There's a long answer that's going to bore everyone. The short answer is they lost a bunch of money, and their financial backing just said, "Look, we can't support this anymore." They actually, I was a Wesco appointed agent. What happened was they went into their book of business and did a new rating model to see what they actually needed to charge people to turn a small profit. And their rating model showed they legally couldn't charge enough money with their filed rates to even catch up. So instead of trying to catch up and lose money year after year after year, they just pulled the plug. They said, no mas, right? They're out. And you see that a lot with some of the smaller carriers. In Wesco, which is a branch of AmTrust, right? So part of the Resco family is AmTrust, just pulled out. They just said no more. We can't do it.
Damn, bro, you know a lot about fucking insurance, bro. Like, I'm not even gonna lie. This is one of the things. Like, cause when I met you, like I said, man, like this when you talk about it, like it seems like you always study it. It seems like you're very passionate about it. And so far, like every question, like you just like literally know an answer for it. It just seems like you like live and breathe fucking insurance, dude. At this point, bro.
I drink and I know things.
Yeah. Then question about interchange. I mean, that's pretty simple, I guess, right? Just add it to your policy.
So look. Can we jump into interchange for a second?
Yeah, knock yourself
Again,
out.
one of the most misunderstood coverages out there, and I'll say I blame the freight brokers because they want to see the word interchange written on a cert because their boss says they want to see interchange on a cert. True interchange only covers the rail yards, JB Hunt, and has to have a signed interchange agreement. You want to talk about getting screwed? If you have Progressive right now and you have trailer interchange and you do not have a signed interchange agreement with the shippers you're working for, you have no coverage. Nothing. You're done. I don't care if you've been paying for it for 10 years. It's null and void without a signed interchange agreement. What we like to write is a coverage called Bailey, which is non-owned trailer physical damage. And what that does is that covers any trailer equipment in your care, custody, and control, whether it be a trailer or a rented truck. Okay. And that's a more encompassing coverage, and it costs the exact same.
Dude,
right? So we want.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, finish out. Thought you're done. Finish up.
No, it just costs the exact same. And then we word it as non-owned trailer physical damage on assertive insurance, so brokers will accept it.
Sorry, because there's seriously something I'm trying to go through, so you let answer his question. I thought this guy was like joking earlier, so I didn't answer the question. But he's like, artwork. Seriously, we can't find insurance that offers a fine art endorsement to buy our to our cargo policy. And then George, I got you next on your question about Century. Next question, Century, now artwork. All right, go ahead.
Guess who covers fine art?
Great West. There you go, dude. So your insurance broker probably blew smoke up your ass and have Great West and then couldn't get it for you. So it is doable, you're saying, right?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. Then George is asking, Century lost a lot of money as well. Am I correct?
So I'm not an appointed Century agent. So Century and Great West tend to not like to be in the same agencies. There are some that have them both, but they've been around for a freaking 100 years. I can't really comment on what they've done and haven't. Do I know the answer? Do I know their exact loss ratio? I do, but I can't comment on that since I'm not an appointed agent, and that's inside information. I'm not going to go there. If you call me, yeah, maybe we can have a discussion, but I'm not going to put it out.
What's the best insurance for a box truck?
Acuity. You guys will notice a theme here. Loading and unloading, right? How many box truck guys actually have to load and unload out of their box truck? Your typical cargo coverage stops the second you touch that and load and unload. So like if you're unloading mattresses, if you're unloading appliances, you want to have a company that will do loading and unloading on the cargo form. They also do 11 equal payments. Box trucks, you only need a year of experience, and they don't care about growth. They're like the only insurance carrier out there that says, yeah, as long as you do what we say, hire the drivers we say are okay, you can grow. It's fine. So Acuity is our number one box truck market.
I still got more questions, bro. How often do you see the oversized cargo claims? Are they common?
No, they're not. We actually really like oversized. We have a lot of guys that do the oversized concrete, the prefab concrete. It's typically a higher trained driver. It's just an acceptability. And as I said before, I love Acuity, right? We've got the Acuity thing. Acuity doesn't like oversized, right? So what my job is I have to know exactly what every market likes and doesn't, and they all like different stuff. So yeah, oversized, I like those accounts. They plan their trips, and we haven't seen very many big claims out of them.
Uh-oh, Roger got another trip you up. Going to get your ask question. Please explain gratuitous Bailey.
Gratuitous Bailey?
Oh, yeah, gratuitous, yeah, B-A-I-L-E-E.
Bailey is the coverage I talked about. It's the simplest way to look at it is care, custody, and control, right? If you take possession of someone else's item, you have physical damage coverage for that while it's under your care, custody, control, whether it be a trailer or whether it be a rented truck.
Cool. I run a 300-mile operation around Chicago. What is the best insurance to get a quote from?
I would look. So you've got Auto Owners is solid for that. Acuity loves local. Great West loves it. When you run 300 miles or you run under 500 miles, you open up a lot of options and some different rating platforms. But those are the ones that I would look at. Those are the first ones that I would go to.
Awesome. Hold on. Fucking Jesus Christ. All right. I'm all over the place right now. How much and what's the best insurance for dry vans?
God. That's a loaded question, right? So you could have a dry van and a twin brother, and you guys could be neighbors, and you'd have different rates. Like they look at so many different factors. A lot of it depends on what you're hauling in the dry van, how old's your trailer. Most dry van cargo coverage don't cover dampness, they don't cover mildew, and they don't cover rodents or infestation. So if you're hauling paper, right, which is a very common, like paper rolls, and your trailer leaks, with most of the cargo coverages out there, you're SOL. For that, I mentioned Great West a lot. Northland's great for those. Canal is great for box trucks. Acuity has a really good cargo program for box trucks. But the box truck is so the dry van is so innocuous that there isn't a single insurance carrier that does truck insurance that will turn away just a dry van trailer.
Awesome. Hold on, I got some more. Sorry, taking a cigarette break right now.
I'm pounding Zins.
There you go.
If your sales guy,
Jesus, actually,
here's another thing. If your truck insurance guy doesn't pound Zins and Monsters, is he really a truck insurance guy?
I was going to say something else, but I got to be sponsor friendly at this point, dude. Is it common to have 100,000 in cargo? I'm guessing plus trailer interchange.
I would say if you have 100,000 to cargo, you're leaving load money on the table. The cost to go from 100 to 250 in cargo is nominal. And then you open yourself up to better paying loads and less competition. Typically, the average, yeah, people want to have 1 million in liability and 100,000 in cargo. That's standard operating procedure. But we like to teach our people to use their insurance to set them apart from the crowd instead of be like the crowd.
Got it. Hold on one second. Let me fix this. This way I put your fucking. There you go. Get your email in here for people that wanna see it. All right, what's up? I have a 250K plus 115K in trailer interchange. I don't know. Is that different coverages? Are you supposed to have that or?
I mean, 115K in the interchange seems a little excessive, but it depends on what you're hauling. Like if you're interchanging tankers, yeah, that's fine. And cargo, the more you have, the better. It just opens up more loads, and it's just cheap to increase that limit.
Years of this, less than 1% of loads have been over $100,000. Is that an accurate assumption or accurate statistic?
I couldn't answer that. I'm not on the load boards. I just know way over 1% of my clients have it. And, we got guys with 500,000 in cargo. The other thing cargo wise too, guys, what we do is if you want to dabble in it, there's a thing called a trip cargo endorsement.
Well, I got a good
So
one after this.
if you want to dabble in hauling something more high value, we can actually just insure that one load for extra cargo, and it usually costs like $100-200, and then you can see if that extra premium is worth the extra money for hauling that higher value stuff.
I got a feeling this is a good one. Define infestation and insurance for cargo.
Bugs, rats, any sort of vermin, mouse, rat, bat, any animal that gets in your trailer is not covered typically. That's infestation.
So that's for all insurance policies, or is there any that?
Most of them, most of them exclude that. You know who doesn't?
Great West. Now, quick question. Now, we've gotten some loads before that got rejected, but we didn't get claimed because there was bugs wrapped inside like the fucking film shrink wrap.
Mm-hmm.
Then that's not your fault, right? That's obviously from the shipper, I'm guessing, right?
Yeah.
So that wouldn't be covered. Greg. Look at my fucking Polish correspondent from Detroit with a bunch of questions today. Difference in price: 1 million versus 2 million liability. That's the one that's not that expensive, right? Where they changed the shit like in New Jersey and some other places.
Adding extra liability is typically going to add 15 to 25% of your liability cost. So like if your liability right now, if you're paying $5,000 in liability per truck, your first $1 million in what we call excess is going to be 15 to 25% of that. So the excess policies are actually priced based off of how your base policy is priced.
Cool. Accurate for me. Is that an insurance brand?
Acuity?
Oh, no, never mind. No, Accurate. I think he meant just Accurate, like what you said. I am a new MC. I need insurance. Marcin, where you at, bro? Marcin over here sleeping in the comments, bro. Look at this guy, dude. That's what I do as I need. Okay, I got you. Is it required to have cargo coverage to ship a corpse? I know I had a buddy that actually shipped like fucking hazmat, like I think body parts or some weird shit like that before. Like I don't know what it was for. I don't know. Do you need special insurance for that kind of shit? And, like,
I've been doing this for a long time. I've never run into that question. I mean, back in my early insurance days, I insured funeral homes and hearses, and I know they were hauling corpses. But yeah, that one I have no clue. Anything body wise is considered, I believe, is considered hazmat. But yeah, I've never run into that. I can't give an accurate description.
Polish correspondent, he said he's been looking for hazmat. And he's finally getting some information. Answers. They'd like to see at least 2 million in liability. He's saying.
Who's they? I'm gonna play your mom. Like, who's they?
Yeah,
if they jumped over a bridge, would you do it?
Polish correspondent. Who the fuck is they, dude?
They is
Why
the
do they
shipper.
got pronouns, dude? What's
They
going
is
on
the
over here?
shipper he's trying to haul for, right? So, and guys out there, this is when most people increase their insurance limits, is when they find good paying loads and a direct shipper that requires them to have more. I think I have 2 clients in my entire book that decided to buy more insurance just for peace of mind. I get it. Like, we got to make revenue. Like, you guys got to make money. Most people get it when they're required, and we're here for that.
What would the damage claim on a corpse be? I don't know. I think the money is more right before they come a corpse. If they got into the accident, that's probably where the money is. After your corpse, I don't think it's worth that much, man. Maybe like a couple $1,000 coverage on that. Oh, want to talk about this, dude? I'm sure like a lot of dump truck people don't listen to us, but you fucking blew my mind with that shit about how everybody doesn't want to cover doesn't want to get cargo insurance on dump trucks. And your thing is, man, get the at least 10,000 coverage because why?
Because if you tip over at a construction site, at a road construction site, or if you're hauling asphalt and you tip, you're responsible for cleaning up that cargo. And I don't know if you've ever dealt with a towing and recovery company. They don't answer the phone for less than $5,000. Okay. So what we do is we put $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 of cargo, and it usually costs like $100 on every dump truck we do. That way you have the coverage for cargo retrieval and cleanup. Because we've seen some people get screwed with that, and you want to make sure that you don't have to pay for the towing and recovery company to come out and scoop up that gravel.
Sorry, I'm trying to give Marcin this information and Instagram. I should probably just... Yeah, so anybody's listening trying to get in contact with them, you could hit up Marcin. If you're on TikToks, you see Brock's email on here, but on TikTok, if you're not on TikToks, you unfortunately don't see it. So if you want to get hold of Marcin, it's Marcin at Redbird INS. So Marcin at redbirdins.com. If you guys want to hit him up with any questions or if you want quotes or anything like that, I'm telling you guys right now, you're going to be in good hands. Definitely, we are partner up, so we're going to be doing more of this kind of shit. And I think talking to Brock on a constant basis, I think it's really going to help out the trucking community because he is, as you can see, just and hear how he talks and how knowledgeable he is. And then if he doesn't know something, he's obviously doesn't, you see, he doesn't make up bullshit, and he'll just be like, hey, I don't know this. So I think it's going to be super beneficial for everybody to have good coverage, and I think this is going to be a super good thing. So again, if you guys want to get a hold of them, either email Marcin or Brock at redbirdins.com with your questions.
And look, guys, if you have a complicated question and you get my number, I don't care if I insure you or not. I'll spend the time with you. I love talking about this stuff. I'm a nerd. I'm an insurance nerd. Bobby was in my office today, and I was showing him insurance policies from 1916 that I've collected.
That was actually pretty cool, dude.
Yeah, and we've got model trucks back from the 60s, 50s. I'm just an insurance nerd. This is what I do, right? It's all I'm good at. I'm too dumb to do anything else. So we just kind of gravitated. As you guys know, there are no A+ students in insurance. We're all C students. We just figure we kind of gravitate here.
David Abney, how do I get into brokering like you?
So brokering, the number one thing you're going to want to do is open a different MC number for the brokerage. If you try to attach your brokerage, it depends on how big you are. Like if you got a fleet of 50 or 60 trucks, some of our markets will allow you to attach the brokerage there, but you typically want to separate that, get a new MC, and get a brokerage bond. Now, the difficulty with brokerage bonds now is they're going to require collateral because so many bad actors got in. Our brokerage bonds now are requiring a $25,000 letter of credit, right? So that puts a lot of people off, where before you just had to pay an $800 brokerage bond and boom, you're approved. So if that's something you want to do, most of the guys we have that got in it developed their own direct freight, couldn't haul enough of it, started a separate MC, started the brokerage, and then they would just broker out that direct freight that they had as kind of overage as a way to get started.
Owner-operator, under someone else's authority, they demand bobtail insurance. What's the bus insurance?
Okay. Bobtail is like a myth. Everybody calls it bobtail. What they require is non-trucking liability and physical damage. Progressive's great at that. Great West is great at that. And then Great American. Those are the three that do the majority of what you would call bobtail. And all bobtail does is cover your physical damage at all times and then covers liability on your truck when you're not under dispatch. But dispatch means leaving your house or yard, getting to where you're picking up the load, dropping the load off, and then when you're done hauling, it dispatches still until you get to your designated parking spot. So that's why your non-trucking liability is typically $300 for the year. It's almost impossible to trigger a claim. All the premium comes from your physical damage.
Oh, Marcin wants me to change it. So first agree to him. Okay, we'll just do this. I'll be like, all right, we're just gonna put Marcin's email up on here so it's his But we're not talking to Marcin. We're talking to Brock, just so everybody knows. But that's Marcin's email address. He'll be screening this shit. Damn, I had a good one. I just lost it. Marcin threw me off. Hold on one second. Where the fuck did it go? Where the fuck? How many trucks do you need to be insured before you start seeing some kind of good discount? Is it the fleet 10 plus?
So first of all, get the D out of your mouth, right? There's no discounts in trucking insurance.
Yeah, dude, no discounts, buddy.
No discounts. Dude, we've got fleets that pay twice as much as one unit owner operators. We've got some fleets that pay crazy low rates. Typically, I think the best answer to this question is the cleaner you run your fleet, the longer you keep your drivers, okay? The tighter your radius is. And I don't mean like 200-300 miles. We look at your IFTAs and map you out, and insurance companies will charge you less if you have dedicated runs than if you have mileage in every state, right? Now, the big guys, what do? Is they take on risks themselves. So we offer what we call an SIR, which is self-insured retention. It typically starts at $25,000, and that means you take on the first $25,000 of each claim, every single one. And that typically reduces your base insurance costs by 35 to 40%. So, we insured a fuel hauler 2 weeks ago that his policy went from $517,000 to $310,000 because he took on the first $25,000. We also offer what are called captive programs, which when you get big enough, if you're paying around $300,000 in insurance, you actually become an owner of your own insurance company. Then if you don't have a lot of claims, you take the money back, right? That's what everyone wants. It's that old Chris Rock. Like, I want my shit back. Like, nothing happened, give it back. That's what a captive program is. But there's no real size discount out there. That's kind of a myth. It's a case-by-case basis. But the cool programs, the stuff, the mileage-based, the revenue-based, the SIRs, the captives, they start at about 10 to 15 trucks and up. The captive is typically about 30 trucks and up that you can start getting some of those good options.
One guy was just asked, so I'm trying to get Marcin's email for other shit, but one guy just asked, he had Great West, they didn't renew him because of a $70,000 claim. Is there any way he could get, try to get back with Great West, or is that done deal for him?
No, it's a year by year. So if any company, if they non-renew you, there's typically a year wait, right? Now, I will say insurance companies have memories like ex-wives. They don't forget, okay? It depends on how bad it was, what happened, but every year is different. Okay. So it's good to try every year, and it's good to see other options, because one of the reasons you might have gotten non-renewed, you probably don't know why. There's a lot of stuff behind the scenes on your safer scores, your MVR, things like that. So a non-renewal isn't death. Like we actually see a lot of good accounts get non-renewed from all our markets for some of the stupidest reasons I've ever seen. Right. But then it's our job to go to other markets and say, look, the insurance company X is dumb. Here's why they non-renewed. This is a good account. Let's get them taken care of. But yeah, we can definitely go back and try.
Give me one more second. Fuck, I'm trying to find, trying to edit on just YouTube really quick, and then we'll be good to go. Let me just take another question so you could keep talking while I'm doing this. How do zero payoff claims reported on loss run affect your premium?
Ooh, that's a good one.
You got a good question.
If you're new, they actually do affect you. For instance, if you're new and you have a zero pay claim, some markets will look at that and be like, no, we don't want it. They were involved in any sort of accident. If you're existing, it actually looks good, because companies want you to, it's a catch-22. Every company wants you to report everything that ever happens. However, if you report something that happens and there's no payout, some will punish you for it. It's crazy. So it really depends on the life cycle where you're at. I would recommend reporting claims because I've seen some guys try to pay stuff themselves, and then a lawyer gets involved, and then the insurance company's behind the eight ball. So we want you guys to report everything as soon as it happens. That's the best case scenario. But zero pays, it really depends on the company. So like, for instance, with Great West, they don't care. Some of the other insurance companies do. Progressive doesn't even look at your loss runs, neither does Geico. They have an algorithm that they really like that they think can price you accurately without them. But it really depends on the carrier.
Got it. All right, hold on. Let me see real quick because I forgot. Jesus Christ, dude. Okay, man, I'm not doing it. I tried putting that shit up there and I keep on forgetting the S and INS. Just Marston at redbirdins.com. I tried doing it on all other platforms. Next time I'll make sure to put it up there because I'm tired of people asking the same shit. Another guy said he was paying like $450 a fucking month or something. Where the fuck did that one go? Sorry, man. One truck owner op got great weather. I pay $450 a month. Very happy with them. Oh, Great West. He's saying.
Pay your bill early. That's a freaking dynamite
a month,
rate.
pay that shit fucking for the year,
pay
dude.
that shit in full. Don't shop it. Don't talk to anybody. Don't let anyone know anything else. Just pay it and be happy to do it.
Thank you, sir. Sorry, taking compliments right now. Mythbuster question: if you hit a deer, with your premium go up since you made a claim?
So, yes and no. Most carriers consider that a non-preventable accident. So, like the comp claims don't really matter. Now, if it becomes a habit, so if we see 10 deer hits on on loss runs, then an insurance underwriter will be like, "Oh, what's this?" Most of them don't care. Now, let's get into a crazier question. What's the craziest animal I've ever seen being hit by a truck?
Buffalo.
Moose.
Moose.
Totaled out of truck. A moose. Yeah.
What's up with Michigan? Great West 10-4 have extra rules about running in Michigan?
Michigan's an interesting state. They came off the not at fault insurance rules, which means you only insured yourself and no one else. They also have some PIP laws, personal injury protection, that really make workers' comp important in Michigan. They don't basically, if you have a fleet in Michigan, Great West wants to make sure that you have workers' comp. Every company kind of treats that state differently. Its laws are actually getting more insurance friendly. And when laws get more insurance friendly, your rates come down. So we're actually seeing a lot of success in Michigan since they've released the not fault coverage requirements.
They're saying Progressive has good discounts if you lump sum your premium for a year, 10 or 15% discount.
Yep. Paid in full discount is huge. Progressive does that. Geico does that. Auto Owners does that. Now, what you need to spin around and look at that is whenever someone offers a paid in full discount, that's the actual base price of the policy. If you make payments, they charge you more, right? If you pay monthly, they charge you more. They're basically self-financing that. Now, I will say, actuarially, accounts that pay in full tend to be a little bit better accounts. However, the companies that don't do pay in full will actually build those discounts or pricing models into your base pricing. So like if you have enough money to pay in full, it typically means you have pretty good credit. And companies will build that into your base pricing.
Jesus Christ, there's so many fucking insurance questions. Fuck, I was not expecting this. What is the best, easiest way to get a fleet insurance? I think it's called non-scheduled or something, some shit like that, he said? I have no idea what that means, but okay.
Non-scheduled? No, that would be an any auto, because he's talking it's not a scheduled auto. So fleet will do what's called any auto, which means any freaking thing that happens, any truck, whether it's reported or not, is covered. And that's on what we call a reporting form. So on the fleets, what we do is we'll actually bill you by the mile, and you'll just report your mileage per month, and that's how you pay insurance. So you can have a truck sitting, and you ain't paying, right? You can have a guy go on vacation for 2 months, you ain't paying. You can pick up a new truck and total it on the way home, it's still covered. But the bigger you get, the easier it is to get those concessions from the insurance companies. The smaller guys under 9 trucks doesn't really exist. There's some companies out there that will do a loose mileage-based premium, but it's not very good.
Well, my wife had some questions before I skip her, and she starts yelling at me when I get home. Where the hell is it? People are calling in. We're not taking calls today, unfortunately. I'm sorry. We're just doing like a kind of podcast kind of thing with a bunch of insurance questions. Damn, where the fuck's my wife's questions, dude? Oh, there it is. What type of policy covers vandalism by fired driver, and does Great West offer occupational insurance?
Great West does offer OCAC, however, in more of a fleet setting, not for just a individual owner-operator. The best policy out there for an individual OCAC is Great American. Okay, they'll give you that, and it's a really good coverage platform. It's a trusted carrier that has been doing it for years. As far as vandalism from a fire driver, yes, Great West will cover that. Actually, most carriers would.
Greg, damn, Polish correspondent today, bro. Fucking insurance questions. Owner operator has option to opt out of workman's comp with Great West in Michigan.
No, no. Now, if you're an owner operator, what we can do, and I do this with some of my fleets, is if you're a true owner operator, you opt out as long as we have a Group OC Act plan. So Great West will actually write a Group OC Act plan for all your drivers and report it monthly. And then when the workers' comp audit comes up, they actually don't have to carry their own workers' comp, because usually when an owner operator opts out of workers' comp, they have to carry their own.
Single owner up, if that helps or not, I don't know.
Single owner op, no. Acuity will do that. Acuity will do a ghost policy. We call those ghost policies. A single owner op with workers' comp that's excluded. $1,600, you get half of it back at the end of the year. It's just a cert requirement thing.
Steve Mo, just email the email right there. That's Marcin. This is Brock, but that's Marcin's email. If you want an insurance quote for a new company, one truck, how much insurance costs, email Marcin right there, and he'll be able to get you a quote for sure. And then, fucking, I had another good question here. How does any auto work when hiring drivers? Example, what if they hire bad drivers?
Most insurance carriers will have a driver requirement. Okay, they'll most fleet good. When I say most, I'm talking about the creme de la creme companies here. I'm talking, your Great West, your Northlands, your Acuities. They're going to want to see 2 years of CDL. Now, the bigger you get, the more variances we get. Do we have fleets that have 1 year CDL drivers? We sure as shit do. But those fleets have proven to the insurance companies that they can train those drivers and control them. Okay. And we have a lot of those. We have some fleets that have their own finishing school. So they'll pull people in, they'll train them, they'll take them through driving school, they'll throw them in with an experienced driver for a while, and we make the concession and say, okay, we think you can control this. There's a big misnomer out there about new drivers. They typically don't get in huge bad claims. New drivers will nick up your truck while backing in tight spaces. That's what we see new driver claims.
And then we got one from Insta. Good question here. Steph Burr. Are insurers getting better at flagging chameleon carriers, or they still slip through until there's a loss?
That's a big one. And actually right now they're all working harder and harder. I will tell you, some of the insurance companies that I've been talking about have been caught up in that web. The guys are getting really good at hiding. Cab can only do so much. But yes, there's a chameleon flag on everything we look at. And honestly, guys, the number one person to prevent insuring chameleon carriers is the agent, right? We talk to people. We know if you tell me you're brand new and you talk like you've been doing this for 10 years and you're like, I got 6 guys, I know you're a chameleon carrier. I'm not going to insure you. Right? Just straight up. I can tell.
So make sure if you're calling for an insurance quote, don't just act stupid.
If you're a chameleon, if you're starting over, no, I don't play that shit anymore, bro. I've been burnt too much. But there are some more sophisticated things the insurance companies are doing behind the scenes to prevent insuring chameleon carriers.
Fucking my wife, another question. Something about windshield cracked while driving behind a truck hauling debris. Who covers that?
You will never get the other party to pay. Some companies have glass on there. I don't think glass is worth it. Typically, your deductible is $1,000, $2,500. Acuity auto owners will do glass. Specific glass coverage. Most of your truck insurance markets are going to say, hey, if you have a $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 windshield, pay it, right? Get it patched. Or if you want to use your insurance, you can. But it's considered a non-preventable claim, which means it's not really counted against you.
EFF, workman's comp. No idea what the fuck that means, but I guess I'll just say it.
EFF, workman's comp.
Yeah. Maybe you're saying fuck workman's comp, maybe? I don't know. We have 18 trucks on our insurance. Thanks for the great reply. What is the minimum if he can't answer? Like 20, 21, 22 semi-trucks?
What do you mean? The minimum for reporting? The minimum's 10. Our minimum is 10.
We're talking about the fleet coverage, right? That's what we're talking about. I think he asked about the fleet. What do you think the easiest way to get fleet insurance? You're talking about fleet insurance, yeah. How does any auto work when hiring drivers? Example, what if they? Oh yeah, we did that one. My bad. Okay, where are we at? Windshield. Okay, New York workman's comp is crazy. Okay, that's probably why he's saying fuck workman's comp because it's expensive.
Guys, most of my really good carriers don't even want to insure you if you have New York mileage. The laws in New York are ridiculous. Not in favor of the trucking companies. So the reason they don't want to work there is one, they can't charge applicable premium. And when I say applicable premium, a lot of people don't know this. Insurance companies, when they take $1 from you, they want to make 1 penny. So after claims and expenses, if they make a penny, it's a good year. Insurance companies make money by investing your premium money until they have to pay out for claims. The market is so cutthroat that's what they want to do. And in New York, so many of the laws are against you guys, and that's why a lot of insurance companies just back out of it.
Got it. How's the Phoenix market compared to California? I'm moving my company to Arizona. My agent says the premium will be about the same. Is that true?
That's like asking me how much to haul load without any sort of anything else. I will tell you, Arizona is typically a better market insurance-wise, but there's no way to. If anyone tells you, "Hey, it's going to go up or down," that's an educated wish. Like, we don't know until we actually see it. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't.
Then another person says, can you please explain or warn other owner-operators about hired auto and how it does not mean the same as any auto?
Yeah, hired and non-owned auto. It does not mean that since you have that, you can sign up owner operators to run under you that have their own insurance. That's not what that means. Hired and non-owned auto is, let's say you're a trucking company, you have 5, 6 trucks, and you take your personal car or truck to go to the parts shop and get in an accident. Well, technically, you're on a trip for business, and then whoever you hurt can sue you. Hired and non-owned auto covers that. It covers liability for autos that you typically do not use in the course of action of your business. Hired and non-owned auto, now what it will cover is a rented truck. So like with Great West, what we do is we put Bailey for the physical damage. Your hired and non-owned auto will cover that rented truck, and we do hired and non-owned cargo. That way you're not paying full boat for a rented truck that you're using for a week or two. But hired and non-owned auto does not give you the liberties to do what most people think it does. We get a lot of calls and say, look, I just want to insure my one truck, get hired and non-owned, and then I've got 6 other guys that have their own insurance. That's not how interstate commerce works. Whoever is on the bill of lading is responsible for any accident for the public safety. So I don't care what numbers are on the side of the truck, who's ever on that bill of lading is responsible.
Okay, what about tipped over pallets, especially for refrigerator carriers? They get fucked all the time, they say.
Oh yeah, just that's cargo movement, right? We see that a lot, or load shifting. You need to rig your cargo for them because sometimes load shifting is not covered. I know one carrier that I kind of like that doesn't cover load shifting. Your Northlands and your Great West, your Acuities will always cover load shifting.
Here's a good one. Let's see if you can. You probably could answer it, no problem. Sorry if we. No, you didn't ask this earlier. Which are the top 2 insurance companies for 10 truck fleet based? To get the fleet.
Whichever ones work out the best for what you want to do, right? There's no golden bullet here in insurance, guys. Right? There's no magic answer. There's the ones that's right for the most people, right? I will tell you, for fleets of 10 to 25, Great West, Acuity, Century, Northland, Canal do a ton of them. Okay, you have your IAGs out there that do a ton. It also depends on what you want to do. Right. So if you want insurance with Great West and you call me and say, hey, I've got 10 trucks, but I've got 3 drivers with 1 year of experience, I'm going to tell you it's not the right fit. And I'm going to show you the programs that can help you do what you want to do. If you want to go from 10 to 50, right, then that takes out even more markets. Right. I'm not going to lie to you and say, yeah, I'll insure you with this company. And you go from 10 to 50 and then the insurance company can cancel you in 35 days. Because I don't know if you guys know this, most insurance companies hate growth. A lot of you think, hey, I'm adding more premium than insurance companies happening. No, they're not. They hate growth. They like controlled growth, but they hate rapid growth. And that's what causes a lot of midterm cancels. That's what causes a lot of pissed off people because they're like, oh, they said they would take care of me and then they canceled me. Well, you got to ask that question. If you're going to add those trucks, like we get a lot of guys that get the Amazon contract. They go from 1 truck to 10 and then they get a cancellation. They're like, well, what the hell? I added all these trucks. Right? That scares insurance companies off unless we go up front and tell the insurance company, hey, here's what they're planning on doing. Here's their plan. Here's their safety plan. Here's how they plan on managing these drivers. Then when you go with that up front, then they will not midterm cancel you.
Steph Burr, another good question. But I think we asked this one in the beginning, but for all the people that weren't here for that, she brought this question up. What's the biggest mistake new drivers make with their insurance that ends up costing them later? Literally, same question we asked, but it's a good one, so I wanted to put it out there. So
Yeah,
she could
biggest
hear it.
mistake is just trying to find a low premium and having the company you buy it from not being able to support the loads you want to haul. Because the most important thing, like you can't be stranded in Arkansas and not get a load because a broker is not going to give you that load, right? You just can't do that. So you want to make sure with whatever you're hauling, the insurance company you're working with is not going to get turned down by brokers. That's the biggest mistake I see. The other biggest mistake is hiring buddies, hiring friends. Guys, it just doesn't work out. I mean, they will ruin your MC. Hiring a bunch of owner operators right away that, own their own truck and just lease onto you. Whatever they do under your authority sticks with you for 3 to 5 years. So you hire a guy, he gets in an accident, you fire him. We get this call all the time. Well, I fired the driver. The insurance company says, well, you hired him, right? Maybe you're bad at hiring, right? So really vetting the people that are hauling for you if you want to grow is important because it's on you. The buck stops on you. And these insurance companies don't care if you fired him that next day. They'll just say, hey, you hired him, you let him drive, and he messed up your safer scores, he messed up your loss ratio, now it's on you.
He needs to get close. He can't. His mic is on his face. I don't know. I hear him good. Okay. The guy that asked about the fleet, which one's the best one? Follow-up question. One that allows adding multiple drivers at once.
I mean, if you're a fleet, you can add drivers, but you need to start with the expectation. If you say, hey, I'm going to go from 10 to 20, that's a discussion we can have. If you're going from 10 to 15, no one really cares about that. If you want to go from 10 to 50, that's a discussion we need to have up front because that's going to knock out some insurance markets.
Awesome. It's a lot of they slowed down finally, but that was a lot of fucking trucking and insurance questions. Jesus Christ, bro. I didn't know trucking insurance is such a popular subject.
Let me tell you, it ain't freaking popular. I'm not winning any popularity contests day to day.
So do you think, the insurance rate keeps skyrocketing? Are they ever going to go back down?
So tort reform and workers' comp really helped. Illinois workers' comp used to be $17 on under payroll. Now it's $7. The only way to get insurance rates down is to change tort reform, is to change what people can actually sue for. So I don't know if you guys know this. Iowa is kind of leading the way in some of this tort reform. In most states, if you get in an accident and the person you get in an accident with isn't wearing a seatbelt, that's not admissible in court. So let's say they die because they weren't wearing a seatbelt. Happened to one of my clients. Not admissible in court. Okay? Those are things that really drive claims cost up, which gets spread to everyone else. It's not about, hey, what are we going to do to make this cheaper? It's how can we stop plaintiffs' attorneys from taking advantage of all these laws, suing for crazy amounts, and then everybody else pays for it.
No, this guy's asking here, can you please explain that additional insurer does not transfer primary liability for the carrier on the BOL?
Yes. What an additional insured is it's an actual endorsement on your policy that relieves liability for whoever you're working with. Additional insured does not give you free truck insurance for somebody else. You can't sign up, XYZ trucking company as an owner operator and say, okay, we have an additional insured with them. That does not work. Unless you're a certain company you love to talk about, it's really hard to skirt the rules. And you may do it for a couple months. The insurance companies find out because every inspection, like right now, every insurance company, as soon as you get inspected, they have spiders into cab and it pops up on the underwriter's desk. This truck was inspected today. It's not on the policy. Canceled. Right? So you got to make sure to list who you're hauling with. If you're a smaller trucking company, 1 to 9, you got to have every truck on the policy you're running. Because if you get caught without it, I mean, these guys will go nuts. And some of the markets now are looking at registration data. They're saying, hey, he's got a 2017 Volvo that he still owns. We can see it from his address. And we're putting it on the policy whether they like it or not. I get a mad call, say, hey, this engine's been out of this truck for 2 years. Some of these companies don't care. They're still going to put it on the policy.
What about bobtail accidents, non-owned trailer interchange?
We can do non-owned trailer Bailey on on bobtail or what we call non-owned trailer or non-owned physical damage. So yeah, we can do that. We can't put cargo on your bobtail. Okay, don't ask. That doesn't work. We can put a non-owned trailer on it.
Hold on. Sorry, man. We're playing the comments. Just you can keep talking about insurance if you want while I'm typing up.
Yeah, guys, it's a shitty market out there. I've actually got some videos out there, and that's the main theme is your premium sucks. It's bad, right? And I feel for you. Like it sucks. But there are ways we can control it. What you want to do is you want to make sure your insurance program and premium is below your competition. Okay, if your competition's at 10 grand a truck, you want to be at 7. If it's 20 grand a truck, you want to be at 15, because then your profit margin is higher than your competition, and it just sets you up in a better business sense. The days of looking, hey, anything under 10 grand, that's what I want. Like, yeah, we all want that. I would love all my clients to pay 5 grand for insurance, but that's not the reality right now. We want to make sure you're set up so you have an advantage over your competition. 1, with the loads you can haul, and 2, with the premium you can pay.
Yeah, I got a good question for you. Let me get out of my smoking section here really quick. Okay. So what are some questions people should be asking their insurance agents before they actually choose an insurance agent and go with them? Like what would you be asking? Like, say if you were hunting for truck insurance, what are, like, obviously if I talk to you, I'll just sign with you right away. I wouldn't go even talk to anybody else, because you're just like a ball of knowledge at this point. But if they're not going to go with you for some stupid reason, what should they be asking their insurance agents? Like, what kind of questions to figure out, like, hey, is this the right agent for me?
Number one question is this what you do? Right? And this is all I do. This is, now my agency does some other stuff. Me personally, I have managers for that. This is what I spend 99% of my time on. And 2, how long have you been doing it? A lot of insurance agencies get into trucking because of the premium, right? They're sick of insuring cars at $300 a year when they see a truck's going down the road at 20. So they get a couple clients that they know, and then they're enthralled. And 3 is, what direct markets do you have? And what I mean by direct market, are you, like, my name is on the contract with Great West. My name is on the contract with Acuity. My name is on the contract with auto owners. I don't have to go whore around and find programs, right? I don't have to go into Lloyd's of London and find physical damage programs, right? So 1, you need to ask, is this what you do? 2, what markets do you have? Who do you recommend and why? And 3, what services do you offer? How do you get your certs out, right? So, we have a link in our management system. You get certs 24 hours a day. We have trucking staff in here, and you met some of them, you talked to them, that they've been servicing trucking accounts for 15, 20 years each, right? In some of the cases, like when you get down into additional insureds and some of the hired or not hired and non-owned, some of the some coverages that are crazy and some contract verbiage, I mean, that's what they do. Like, I give it to them. I give it to my staff because they're more knowledgeable in some of this day-to-day stuff than I am, right? So what does your staff do? Do you have dedicated trucking staff? Do you have a way to get us certs out? And what is your plan for us, right? So we have a plan for every single client, right? And my plan, 1, is I'm going to get you in the best market I can. 2, I'm going to stop you from making mistakes that will screw your insurance. Now, it's your company. I can't stop you from doing anything. I'm going to voice my opinion, because what makes business sense does not always make truck insurance sense, right? So I'm going to tell you what the insurance companies think, right, and what they think about what you're doing. So you need to ask, what's your plan for me? Is it to just shop me, give me a rate, right? And that's what a lot of people call us and want. But what is your actual plan? How are you going to support me in my business that feeds my family for the long term? That's what you should ask.
Okay, we're going to ask that because I got to go because my buddy just came here, but we're going to ask one last question here. Dude, this has been great. I did not expect so many fucking trucking insurance questions. This has been awesome, especially, bro, because you're super knowledgeable. That's 100% for fucking sure. Like, even everybody in the comments is, like, agreeing that, you know what I mean? Like, obviously, like, when you say shit, like, you know what the fuck you're talking about, and you're just not pulling shit out your ass, you know what I mean?
Oh, I'm the smartest man alive. Just ask.
So we're going to ask a question from Austin Wash, 4978. I own one box truck and a semi-truck. under my Progressive policy. I plan on hiring 12 more drivers and get them truck rentals. Is there anything special I need to do, or is it just normal like my first two? I don't know, man. It's a crazy jump, no?
You're fucked.
Good answer.
Dude, we see this a lot. I mean, honestly, we see it a lot. I would have an honest conversation with you and say, what makes your company so special that you're going to get 10 more guys that are going to come drive for you for 5 years, right? If it's just, I have these loads and we're going to make it work, you have to ask yourself, what do I offer drivers that they can't get somewhere else? Right? How am I going to pay them in a way that they want to stay? How am I going to treat their lives? If you go from 2 to 12, everyone's going to cancel you. You're going to end up in a risk retention group. And if you can afford the insurance, you're going to pay $30,000 a truck.
You don't want to be in a risk retention group, I can tell you that right now. But
that's just, you're with Progressive right now, they will 100% non-renew you.
So what's the limit per month that you could raise, like if they were Progressive? Like, is there a limit before they start flagging
there's
you?
no written rules. That's what drives guys like me crazy. Every market has a different attitude towards it. Some, like acuity, like as long as you're doing what you're doing, you can grow. Others, like, there's no written rule. Like, we'll get a warning from an underwriter, then we'll call the insured and say, hey, look, what are you doing? We had an account the other day that went from 1 truck to 5, and we got a call from the underwriter and said, what are they doing? And I called and asked, and I said, hey, they're getting a little weirded out by this growth. They're fine with it if you stop at 5. And the insured was like, yeah, that's it. And then 2 weeks later, they sent us an endorsement for 5 more trucks. And I'm like, you're going to get canceled. And they're like, we don't care. Find us something else. And guys, there's not much else when you go to the growth, because the insurance companies can see online how you're running. They can see that you had 1 truck 8 months ago and now you have 10. And to them, it looks like you're just putting a bunch of people in the truck that you haven't trained, that don't know what you're doing. They haven't been doing this day after day, year after year, right? And to them, that looks way more risky, right? Are there markets that will do it? Yes. You're just going to pay out the nose. You can do whatever you want, but you're going to pay for it. Like that's kind of it. Like, whatever you want to do, you can do. You can figure it out. Someone will insure you. They're just going to hammer you.
Fuck, man, there's so many good questions. We can't ask no more, dude. Sorry, guys. We got to wrap this shit up. My buddy's here. I got to go take care of some stuff. Brock, man, we might have to do this more often, bro. I think we might have to do a little Brock and Bob podcast here, dude. I think you're like very personable, dude. You got a lot of knowledge, and fucking people are asking you a million fucking questions, dude. So,
dude, you guys have Marcine's email. I don't look. This is sincere. I don't care if we write your insurance or not. I don't give a shit. Right? Do I want to? Yeah. If you have questions, ask him to talk to me. I will call you. You can call me. He'll give you my number, and we can talk. I can look at your account online, and I can tell you, hey, here's what you're doing right. Here's what you're doing wrong. Maybe we can help you. Maybe we can't. But there's no more honest answer that you're going to get from someone that's not trying to sell you something. Like, the last guy that asked a question that wants to go to 2 to 12, honestly, as an agency owner, I'm going to say no. I'm not going to do that, because it's going to be nothing but hell for me and my staff. Right? So there's a guy that you're offering money to, and I say no, because I've seen that script over and over, and it typically doesn't work. Has it worked? Yes. Typically it doesn't. But we're going to have those honest conversations. And again, I don't care if I get your business or not. Dude, I'm here to help this industry, because you guys have given me a life that I can't even dream of. I mean, we have, without tooting my horn, I own 100% of my agency. We're one of the largest, single-owned insurance agencies out there, and by one of the largest, I mean,
what's the name of it?
Cardinal Insurance Partners.
There you go.
Truck insurance shouldn't suck, Rose. It shouldn't.
Right. You guys got it, man. If you guys need any more contact info or anything like that, DM me. I'll send you the info. This is the official launch. We do have a partnership between me and them. So you're going to be seeing a lot more content. We are going to get Brock on here a lot more times, because obviously you can see he's super knowledgeable. So we're going to try to jump on maybe once a week, answer any questions for people. Again, man, if you want to support the channel and you need insurance, fucking hit us up. We'll get you taken care of. As you can hear by the way he's talking, he knows what the fuck he's doing. So, you know what I mean? You know you're going to be safe in these hands. So thank you very much, Brock. Appreciate your time, and I'm looking forward to building this relationship and hopefully a long-term partnership, and you know helping a lot of people out and putting some monies in our pocket as well while helping people out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, let's go.
Awesome, guys.
Let's
Thank you
go.
for joining. Appreciate everybody. Appreciate all these fucking questions. I'm shocked by how many insurance questions we had. So appreciate it, and everybody have a good night. Later.